cool part is that it's secluded, if that makes sense. Which means that if you were to copy it from where it is and put it into... what I like to do is I like to throw it into its own world space. Like, if you were to kind of do that, then it makes sense. Because then by the end of it, like, you have as a space that only you can enter. And not only that, though, because it is so secluded, you have very little to edit. Which is good. Another one that I like is the Skingrad one. Skingrad's castle looks really, really good. The only thing is that the interior is very bare, where there's barely anything in the main lobby area. So maybe try and find a mod, maybe, that kind of tries to outfit it with more stuff inside. Or that tries to at least make it look like it's more of a castle on the inside. Or do it yourself, it doesn't really matter. But like pretty much all that's in the lobby is like, I think, 2 guards, the steward. If you haven't done the Mages Guild, there's the Mages Guild guy, or there's an Argonian maid, I think, or something like that, that does his job when he's missing. And and a chair and maybe a table. That's it. And then a really long staircase going up, and then an empty hallway. That's it. And I feel like there's a missed opportunity with the Skingrad Castle. The only thing I have to say, though, is that if you want to get these, try and grab... I don't know if this mod actually does do that, and it can kind of show you how to do it. But make the castle feel more open. So when you click on the door, instead of having a loading screen appear, have it so the door actually opens up. I think that would be an amazing idea. So that like when you open it, the door opens up and then you see the little courtyard, and then the door that's inside that courtyard area that leads inside the castle, obviously make that into a loading screen. Because if you make too many... And plus, I don't know how the models work in that way either, so it's safer to do that. But for that kind of stuff, yeah, like, I definitely recommend those 2 castles overall. Braville's looks like the town catered more towards the castle than anything else, so the castle looks big and it's like a rectangle where it's got no discerning features that makes it very interesting. It literally looks like somebody put a box down and said, that's a castle. Leywin, same idea. And it doesn't really look good either when you have 2 places that are in the southern area close to the swamp, in a way, that the castles are just so badly looking, and they look like they don't belong. And Chain Halls is, I think, I don't want to say okay, because I looked at all of the castles, and I looked at all the castles because I was trying to figure out if there was a castle in Oblivion that I could use as like a floating castle. So I kept looking for something like that, and I was like, none of these really look good. Like, Anvil's has got a good thing going on, but so does Skingrad, but those are the only 2 that have something like decent looking. And then when you look at like Braville's and Leywin's, I just got disgusted at it. They didn't look like a castle at all. It just looked like somebody put a box down. Looks like something I would make in Minecraft and put it down. That's what it looked like, and I was like, doesn't look good. And same thing with Leywin. I think Leywin just has a very odd looking shape going for it. Either it's a box or it's an odd looking box. It's like somebody from Leywin's or Braville's like you could copy my homework, but just change it a little bit. And then Leywin's like, you got it, man. Then they changed it slightly, and it's like, here you go. Like, what? I'm trying to remember, is there another one? Because I think... Yeah, because Chain Halls was okay. It's just that I just didn't like anything about the area because it was too... Because the courtyard was bigger than the castle itself, which I thought was very odd. So I didn't like it that way because it was just too small. Like, I understand that the courtyard's probably the centerpiece of the castle, or any sort of, like, castle kind of thing, but your courtyard doesn't need to be 3 times the length of your castle. Especially in Oblivion. With, like, nothing going on in there. If you've never been to Chain Hall or you haven't watched a video of somebody going to Chain Hall, you'll notice that there's nothing there. Because there's, like, nothing going on there. And I was like, wow, that just sucks. So I went to... So I think I went to Bruma. Bruma's is okay, but I think it still has that box-like shape. Which again, sort of just makes me feel like there's nobody that really bothered too much with the castles that much. And Corals is also okay. I think Coral is okay. It's just, it's not secluded enough because it's still technically like a part of the town in a way. And I think it's got too many exits, I think. Because there's the main way, and then there's a way you can go in from, or you can leave from the from one of the guard towers. And I'm trying to remember, is there another one? Kvatch is burned down, I think, so you can't technically do that. Although you can download a mod that I think it tries to repair it. And it puts like an accurate, or at least closely accurate to what Kvatch would have looked like. And I think that I did use the mod early, like early in my like a modding days, just to kind of see what Kvatch actually did look like. And I liked it. Because there was Kvatch. And the Imperial City doesn't have a castle, it just has the White Gold Tower. Which, even that, I don't even like. But was there something else? And then a lot of the castle mods that you find out on the Nexus, they're either too big or they have... or they have like their own landscapes. And it's interesting because one of the castle mods I actually liked a lot, and I actually used it. I think I called the mod Castle Trilesia. For that one in particular, that one I liked a lot. But again, it's secluded in a way, and the castle is just, I don't want to say too big, but it's got too many rooms in a weird configuration. That it makes the castle look like, okay, like this is a maze. Why? Why is it a maze? And so it confused me a lot of the times whenever I kept trying to wrap around myself. And the only problem with Castle Trilesia is that I can't bring it to, I can't port it over to Nehrim because it still utilizes a lot of Oblivion's main textures. Wanna know what the problem with that is? Because it uses a lot of Oblivion's main textures, if Nehrim changes it, it changes in my mod too, so that's why for the Dark Kings mod, or what I called the Forgotten Armory pretty much, I have it as standalone. Now there is a reason for this. It's so that I can move it over from Oblivion to Nehrim and then be fine with it. I remember I had problems before, but this was before I went solely into the, because this was before I think I made it standalone, or truly standalone, I think. Where Oblivion handled Oblivion's textures from the base game, whereas I dealt with all the mod stuff and put them into my mod kind of thing. So I didn't require the original mod, I had all the assets for myself. But now even Oblivion's textures and meshes and all that stuff that I needed, they're all in my mod now. So it's like, why bother now? And because I think I did it that way because I wanted, because I want to be able to port my mod over to Nehrim whenever I really wanted to, so that if I want to do Nehrim again for the channel for good time's sake or something like that, we could bring all the new Dark King's items kind of thing over to there, or have the Dragon Lord now go do it. And the reason why I know that my mod for the original Dark King's armor didn't work, or how I know that it didn't work originally, was because when I ported it over, Nehrim loaded perfectly fine, but when I tried to force give myself the teleport spell and use it, Nehrim went, "You can't use that spell here." Like, anytime I would cast it, it would be a dead spell, and I was like, that's weird. Why is it that it's acting like it's a dead spell all of a sudden? Like, that's such a strange thing. And if you look at the Nexus forums, I did post my teleport spell just to try and figure out what the solution is, or what the problem, like what the actual problem is. And somebody told me, so pretty much what it does is that when you cast the spell, it triggers two markers. One that moves to the player, so that, so when you cast the spell the first time, it moves one marker towards the player, so that the next time you cast the spell, you get moved to that marker. And then when you click on the other marker, and then it moves you to the other marker, which brings you inside the, brings you to the island, which is usually where we always see me every time I cast the spell. Now, when you cast the spell again, what's supposed to happen is that you can move to the, you're supposed to move to where the marker that you originally used the spell from is. So, and now I found out that it is based off of world spaces that is the issue. So if you use the teleport spell from, let's say, Anvil's world space, so pretty much like if you're out and about walking the streets of Anvil, okay? Anvil's my favorite town in Oblivion, that's why I always like saying Anvil. So when you're walking the streets of Anvil, let's say you're like, oh, I need this rare item from the Dark King's legendary chests because it's a rare artifact that I need. What you're then going to do is you're going to go to... is that you're going to use the spell out in the thing, which is going to be, let's say, a problem. Because let's say you get to the island and the game auto-saves. I don't think it auto-saves there, but let's just say it does. Or let's say that it doesn't crash, nothing happens then. You walk into the building, then it auto-saves, because it always auto-saves for me, so let's say it auto-saves at this point. And let's say you go pick up the item, and let's say there's an item in the basement that you need too. Try to load the basement, game crashes. Not a problem. You can just load the game, do everything perfectly fine, and now it works. So now you cast the spell. because you originally used the spell in a world space, what I believe Oblivion does is that it purges static objects or persistent static objects, or just any static objects, and any activator that was not originally a part of the cell that it is currently in. Because these items are not, I don't want to say native, because they're not naturally supposed to be there, the game treats them as foreign objects of that location and, well, deletes them.